Today, we're diving into a mystery that, believe it or not, powers your entire life: the massive, invisible web of data that keeps our lights on. But at the heart of this whole case, there's a really puzzling question. In this incredibly complex system, who's the owner? The answer, or maybe the lack of one, is what this whole explainer is about.
Seriously, think about it. Every single watt of electricity powering your screen right now relies on this constant, invisible river of data. But who actually controls it? Who's on the hook if that data is wrong and causes a blackout? Or what if it's stolen, creating a huge security crisis? We just assume someone's in charge, but as we're about to find out, that assumption might be dangerously wrong.
You have to forget the old image of just pipes and wires. Today, Europe's energy grid is basically a giant digital nervous system that stretches across borders. Every single second, data on how much power is being made, how much is being used, and what the market prices are, it all flows between countries just to keep the system in perfect balance. It is an absolute marvel of technology. But this marvel is built on a surprisingly shaky legal foundation.
And right here is where our plot really starts to thicken. We're now entering our grid's central data dilemma.
Okay, so this is the chaos right at the heart of the system. The rules are this messy patchwork of energy law, competition law, and privacy law, all kind of thrown together. And what that creates is this dangerous void of responsibility. So if some bad data causes a massive blackout, who's liable? If it's used to manipulate the markets, who's held accountable? See, this isn't just some abstract legal puzzle. It's a direct threat to the stability of the grid and, frankly, a nation's control over its own critical infrastructure, what we call its digital sovereignty.
So, every good investigation needs to look at the evidence. For us, that evidence comes in the form of the EU's legal toolkit. This is the set of regulations that are trying to bring some order to all this digital chaos.
First up is one you've probably heard of: GDPR. Now, we all know it for protecting our personal data, but its real importance for our case is how it assigns accountability. Notice it doesn't use the word owner. Instead, it defines controllers and processors, basically the ones making the decisions and the ones taking the action. And this is our first big clue that ownership might just be the wrong way to think about this whole thing.
Next on our list is REMIT. This is a law built specifically for the high-stakes world of the energy market. Its entire job is to keep things fair and to stop insider trading. It does this by forcing transparency and making it straight up illegal to spread misleading data. With REMIT, having accurate data isn't just a good idea, it's a legal command. And the final piece of our legal toolkit is the new Data Act. The whole point of this act is to unlock the massive potential of industrial data, exactly the kind of data flowing through our energy grid. It's all about pushing for fair access and sharing and pushing back against the old idea that just one company can hoard critical data, which just stifles innovation and competition. And here we have it, the fundamental conflict these laws create. As you can see, on one side, you've got a legal duty to publish data to keep markets fair. But on the other side, you have the absolute need to protect your sensitive commercial strategies, your trade secrets, just to stay competitive. So, how do you share what you're legally required to while also protecting what you need to survive? This is the central knot we need to untangle.
Okay, this is the turning point in our investigation. This is the moment we realize that the entire premise of our search, looking for an owner, has been completely wrong from the very start. It's time to expose the ownership myth.
In the EU, the legal relationship to data is relational, not absolute. This one sentence, this is the key that unlocks our entire mystery. So what does it mean? Well, it means European law doesn't treat data like a house or a car, something you can own in an absolute, total sense. Instead, your rights to a piece of data are defined by your relationship to it. How you collected it, what you're doing with it, and who you're sharing it with.
So this is it. This is the fundamental shift in thinking. We have to stop asking about ownership and start asking about control and accountability. The right question isn't who owns the data. The right question is who is in control of it and who is accountable for what it does.
And look, this isn't some accident or a legal loophole. It's a completely deliberate strategy. The EU actively avoids creating property rights in data precisely because it wants that data to circulate, to fuel innovation, and to prevent monopolies. So the focus shifts to functional control. Who is actually in the real world making decisions about the data? Because in this system, liability follows the actor, not some mythical owner.
So, if there's no owner, how in the world does anyone establish the rules of the road?
Well, the answer is the practical tool that emerges in this new landscape, contracts.
With the whole idea of ownership off the table, contracts suddenly become the main legal instrument. They are the new rulebook. Well-written agreements between companies are now the primary way you define roles, you allocate risks, and you establish those crystal-clear lines of responsibility for data. They are, for all intents and purposes, the functional substitute for property rights.
And this isn't just theoretical stuff, it's incredibly practical. Let's say you're worried about inaccurate data messing things up. Well, your contract can mandate specific service-level agreements, or SLAs, and require unchangeable audit logs. Or what if you're worried about a foreign government demanding access to your data? The contract can actually force your provider to challenge that access and to use encryption that only you can unlock. Contracts are the tool that turns these abstract duties into concrete, enforceable actions.
All right, as we wrap up our investigation, we've arrived at a really powerful new concept, and it's one that goes way beyond just energy data.
What we've seen is a fundamental shift in perspective. Data isn't a piece of property to be hoarded and owned. No, it's a vital resource, almost like water and air, that needs to be responsibly managed. And this idea has a name: data stewardship. So why does this matter so much? Well, because in this new world, value isn't about possessing data anymore, it's about governing it well and earning trust. Digital sovereignty isn't about building digital walls. It's about creating verifiable, accountable ways to share information. The companies handling all this critical data become more than just vendors. They become stewards of market trust. And honestly, this isn't just an idea for the energy sector, it's pretty much a blueprint for the future of our entire digital economy.
So in the end, the whole mystery of the missing owner, it was just a distraction. The real solution was found by changing the question from who owns it to who is accountable for it. So let's apply that logic more broadly. If data truly is a resource to be managed and not a property to be owned, what does that mean for the future of the entire internet?